Hello, hello. Welcome to another live recipe with me, Chef Day. So I'm just gonna make sure that I can see all of your different comments. So let me just make sure that we've got our Facebook Live on the go, and let me see who is also in the room. So just give me a few seconds to sort that out. But hello to anybody who is joining us, and thank you for your time. If you guys are new to the group, then please do say hello and let us know where you live, where you're living at the moment. It would be great to find out a little bit about you guys as well. So I can see that we've got the live up, which is great. There we go, and we've got the sound on. I hope that you guys can hear me now. There we go. Yes. Okay, so we've already got Sue and Denise. Greetings and good morning. Thank you very much. And Doug and Karen, thank you for joining me once again. Okay, so oh, Louise, thank you for letting us know where you're coming from. Where are you in America? It would be really good to know. We do have a lot of people joining us from America on this show, so it would be really good to know where you are. Justine, thank you for joining us again. Denise says that she can hear me perfectly. That's good. Okay, so on to today's show. So today we will be making a banana blossom sambal belachan. So what is a belachan? So sambal basically means a sauce. That's simply what it is, and there's lots of different types of sambals out there from lots of different countries. But this one is made using Belachan. What is Belachan? Well, so Belachan is actually a fermented shrimp paste, and of course can't use that as we're vegan. So I decided to come up with my own version of the Belachan. So the Belachan is it's funky smelling and it's funky tasting. So it's that type of like fermented product that will add a real lovely depth of flavour to our food, but we're going to make a vegan version of it using tempeh and white miso. So that's the Belachan part of the recipe, and then we make it into this sauce which we call a sambal Belachan, and then it goes really well with banana blossom. And also we're going to just make some really simple sushi rice to go alongside it, or any type of short grain rice would be really good, and some peanuts and some cucumber, and the lovely banana blossom and the sauce on the side. So it's a really super tasty one. It might be a little bit different to something that you're more familiar with. It can be quite unusual. I know about this type of food because I lived in Malaysia for a while, and they have such amazing food over there, but unfortunately quite a lot of it has Belachan in it, so I can't eat that. So missed out a bit when I was there. So yeah, this is my version of it, but there are so many lovely flavors and lovely ingredients that are used in Malaysian cooking, so it's a really good one to explore. Definitely. Let me just see if we've got any more comments in here. Jenny, hello. Justine, hello. Karen, good morning from New Jersey. Carl, lovely to have you back. Hope there is not another power outage today. He says, we hope so too. And it would be really good if you didn't leave us hanging with a joke. So I can't even remember what that joke was now. Maybe somebody else in the group will remember. But there was a joke that you said the first line to, and then we still haven't had the punchline, so we're still waiting. Katie, thank you so much for being admin today. Sue says, well, I think I have almost no ingredients for this. So one for another day. Yes, exactly. But some of them, the ingredients are a little bit difficult to get hold of. I mean, mainly just the kaffir lime leaves, I would say. The banana blossom, maybe, depending on where you live. We're quite fortunate now in that in the UK it's in a lot of supermarkets, which is great. Sarah, thank you for joining us. Rachita, sorry, I don't know if I said that right. Thank you for joining us. Lara, So I will use my last block of homemade tempeh for this amazing recipe. Thank you, Day. So Lara, what's your tempeh made from? I'd be really, really interested to know. Martine, thank you for joining us. Sarah says, can we make it without tempeh? No, you can't. You can't. I mean, the sauce would still be nice, but it wouldn't have as much depth of flavour. So, yeah, you could make it, but it wouldn't be quite right. But it would still be nice. It would still be nice. So if you want to give it a go, then please do. Louise says, I'm from New York City. This sounds delicious. Oh, right, great. I think we have somebody else who joins from NYC as well. Khan is already there with the banana puns. So it's good to get that going. Okay, so I will bring you over here and we can go through all of our ingredients. And just to say, if you guys are cooking along today, then please do say. It would be really, really good for you to let me know. Because then, you know, I might go a bit quicker. Sorry, I might go a bit slower. That would be really mean if I went quicker. That would be really hard. Like, come on, quickly, speed it up. No. Stress-free cooking, please. No, I'll go a bit slower. So if I know that you guys are cooking along at home, then we will go a bit slower. We're trying to do more of these as cook-alongs because a lot of you guys have been asking us for them. So, but we just do have to change what we're doing slightly. Reed, thank you for joining us. I hope that you do get to cook along one day because I know you're interested in it. So let's bring you over here and we can look at our ingredients. So first of all, we have our tempeh. So this is tempeh that I actually made. And this is tempeh using carlin peas. So Lara will be familiar with carlin peas. They're from Hodmedods. So as you can see, they're a black pea, grown in the UK. And of course, I live in the UK, so that's great that we've limited our earth impact by using these lovely carlin peas. So that's my tempeh for today, and we've got 150 grams of tempeh. So as you guys requested, we actually have the ingredients list on every view that you're going to be seeing today. So it will make it a lot easier if you guys are cooking along. And then we have our miso. This miso that I'm using today is from, a company called Tideford. In fact, that way round would probably be better. There we go. This is from a company called Tideford. This is the one that I prefer because I think it has more of a kind of fermented taste and it's not so sweet as other ones that are on the market. Okay, and so Denise has asked, could you provide a link to the tempeh recipe, please? Well, actually, the tempeh recipe is something that we do in one of our online courses, in our Pro Chef course. So I'm afraid that you have to come on the course to get that recipe. Sorry about that. And then we have our rice. So I'm actually using arborio rice today because my food delivery that I got yesterday, they didn't bring me sushi rice that I'd asked for and no substitution, which was a little bit annoying. So I'm going to substitute with arborio rice today. So any type of short grain rice is absolutely fine. And then we've got our kaffir lime leaves over here. So we've got 2 kaffir lime leaves and our bird's eye chilies. I'm really going to go for it today and put 4 in. 4. Look at those. Look how beautiful they are. So I'm going to put all 4 in today. I know. So yeah, that's gonna be spicy. And then we have some salt and sugar over here. So just half a teaspoon of coconut sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We've got the juice of 2 limes, but we will be using half of it in one way and then half of it in another. So just bear that in mind. With the outer cases of the limes, I've actually just popped them in the freezer so that I can either use them for their zest or I can just pop them into drinks. So, you know, it will work as something that makes it the water taste nice when we drink it, but also it will chill it at the same time. So don't discard those outer shells of the lime. And then we've got some peanuts here. I'm cheating and using salted peanuts, but you don't have to. We've got about 200 grams of a cucumber here. So this is a nice ridge cucumber as well, which I think they have more flavour. We've got 1 can of banana blossom here, and I did drain it really well. So do make sure that you drain it really well, because we will want to impart flavour on it. So we don't want any of the water left in here. So, you know, because otherwise it will dilute it basically. And then here we have an optional ingredient, which is our nori flakes, but you don't have to use them if you don't want to, or if you don't have them. And then over to our equipment. So we have here a baking sheet. You can use just baking paper if you want, but I'm using a reusable baking sheet, also known as my magic carpet. And I've got a bowl here, and we will need this for marinating the banana blossom. I have a little baking tray. We will put the tempeh onto this in a moment into the oven. And then over here I have saucepan for our rice, frying pan for our banana blossom, and our chopper. So we will be making the Belachan in this, but if you don't have one, don't worry, because you should be able to crumble it anyway. You should be able to put it into a pestle and mortar and grind it, so you can do it that way. Or, you know, it can be a bit chunky, you can put it into a bag and bash it with a rolling pin, which is always a lot of fun. So you can do it that way, or indeed you can just put it into a food processor, or a Nutri-Ninja, NutriBullet, something like that. So there are a few different options there. So I just wanted to go through those, all of the different ingredients that we're using, and also, just in case you guys are cooking along, or when you do eventually cook along with us, which you will, won't you? You'll make this recipe, right? Yes. So basically, like with these recipes that we're doing every day, I am trying to make them, shape them into a form where you guys will feel comfortable and confident with cooking along with us live, because that's what we want to see more of. That is what we want to see more of. So, you know, it's a really good thing to do, because you guys can ask me questions as we go. So if something isn't looking a bit too right, you know, you're not entirely sure, then you can ask me a question. I know, like, Sarah has definitely cooked along with us at home, and Justine of course has, and you know, they do come on and they ask me questions, and then we can troubleshoot as we go, which is always a really good thing to do. Okay, so let's get you guys back over here, and we will try to see what is at the end of our rainbow today. Can you guess? Can you guess? It's a little bit far away, actually, this one. Maybe I've made it a little bit too difficult. Is it a bit too difficult? If it is, then I'll move it. Okay. Right. So let's get going. We'll just pop these to one side for a moment, and then we will start with our tempeh. So if anybody is cooking along at home, you need to get your oven on at 150 degrees Celsius, 300 degrees Fahrenheit, which is gas mark 2. So fairly low, because what we want to do with this tempeh is we just want to really take any of the moisture out of it and make it nice and crumbly, because then we will be grinding it. So Colleen says, does banana taste like banana blossom? No, it doesn't. David said, nori seaweed, right? Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's seaweed. Colleen, Justine said, Colleen, what's at the end of the rainbow? I don't think anyone can really see today, so we're going to have to reposition the rainbow. So, right, there we go. Right, okay, so with our tempeh, I'm just going to be cutting it into slices, and you'll see this, you know, falls apart a bit, which is absolutely fine. This sometimes happens with homemade tempeh. And see all these like little white bits? All these little white bits of the fermentation, and that's what we want. We really want that in this recipe. So I've just sliced it as finely as I can, because the finer you slice it, the quicker you'll be able to bake it. You know, the quicker it will dry out, and that's what we want. Denise says, no onions in this recipe. Nope. No, do I use a lot of onions? Do I? I think I probably do. You know, once I had a dream that I was chopping onions, because I did have to chop onions so much in my day-to-day life that I started dreaming about it. Okay, so we're just going to pop our tempeh out onto here, and I'm just going to shake it around so that they're not doubled up. I don't want them to be on top of each other at all. Colleen said it's Blossom! Yeah, so this is Blossom from the Powerpuff Girls. So banana Blossom. Here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this into the oven. Right, that will take about half an hour to cook. So whilst that is happening, we need to get our miso onto our sheet and into the oven as well. So they do take around the same amount of time. So it's 2 tablespoons of miso, and always have another spoon with you so you can just scrape it out of that tablespoon. Gloria said, what is tempeh? Sorry if you've explained. No, that's absolutely fine. So tempeh is a fermented product. So you can use most beans and seeds and grains and all sorts of things. And then you get this culture, a tempeh culture, also known as a starter. And basically you mix those with the grains or the beans, and you let it ferment for a couple of days. And it has a very nice nutty texture, and it has a lovely fermented taste, a kind of funky taste, which is why we're using it today, because we're using it to help us make Belachan, which is a fermented shrimp paste. So we need something fermented in there. Okay, so I've got a flat knife. It's actually a vegan cheese knife. And I'm just using it to scrape along here. So we want to make a really thin layer of the white miso, and then we will bake it, and it will go dark. It will eventually go almost black, and then it will have dried out and we'll be able to crumble it. And so this will be the salty part of the Belachan. There we go. So I'm just trying to make it as even as it can be, because we want it to be, we want the thickness to be as even as possible. So that's why I'm just spending a bit of time. It's quite meditative, actually. I could do this for hours. I wouldn't expect you guys to watch me for hours, but I could do it for hours. Okay, there we go. It's nice and flat. So I'm just going to pop this in the oven as well. Colleen said, I use store-bought tempeh. I found that you really have to steam it before you do anything else. Well, you might be okay with this recipe because we do want it to dry out and get quite hard. The knife is the shape of a fish knife. Oh, is it a fish knife instead rather than a cheese knife? You see me being like the proper vegan that I am. I don't know the difference. Okay, so I just put this into the oven. Okay, and while that gets going, I just want to point something out to you guys that I did this morning, which is this. Okay, so of course we talked about the group, the community hub that we have set up, but I wanted to point this out to you. So if you guys want to know where to get the ingredients list for the cook-alongs that are coming up, you need to go to the community hub. So if you're not a member of it already, then please do join. And you can go to photos, which is there. And then we can go to albums, which is here. And then I have created this album, and I will do one every week with our cook along details. So here you can go through all of the different days and it will tell you what we're making. It will have the ingredients list here, but there isn't enough room for the equipment list. So the equipment list will be in the comments and then we'll give you details of anything you have to prepare. So let's just see if we can get onto the next image. There we go. And then this is with Katie's delicious cheese scones and onion chutney that she'll be making tomorrow. So again, the details there. And I don't know if Katie, if you want to add anything about, you know, what people need to prepare. I imagine that they might have to preheat their oven for this, so we can add that definitely. But here you will find 1 week's worth of cook-alongs details. So, you know, this might make it easier for you guys just to find those details, because we know that Facebook can be really, really difficult to navigate, and it can be really, really hard to find things in our groups and also our pages. I have a problem with it, so I'm sure that you will too. Okay, so right back to our Powerpuff Girl and the ingredients. So let me just make sure I can see your comments here. There we go. There you are. Justine said, I thought you were going to show my awesome cheesecake then. Okay, right. That's it. We have to show the cheesecake. So I'm going to bring you guys over here. And then first of all, we've got Karen, who has made a lovely rainbow quiche. Well done. That looks really, really lovely. And then, oh, Denise, your roast and walnut curry, that looks great. And then, of course, we have our video chat, which didn't quite go to plan, and Colleen's burgers, which looks lovely. Where, Justine, where are they? Where are they? I can't see. Where is it gone now? Okay, right, let's go in here. There. Brilliant. Okay, so that was Justine's triumphant cheesecake. How amazing is that? Really, really good. Really good. It's brilliant to see all of you guys doing all of these amazing, creating all of these amazing creations. Okay, so there we go. Oh, Denise, you posted your curry too. Okay, great. I'll have to have a look at that later. Right, on to our next bit of our recipe. But it's good for us just to give what is in the oven a little bit of time to cook. So let's get on to our rice. So we're just going to pop our rice into our pan. There we go. And I'll put in about twice the amount of water into this. There we go. Actually, I'm just going to do 1.5 with this rice. There we go. And I, honestly, when it comes to rice, I actually eyeball it these days, or sometimes I put my finger in it. And so if I put my finger in it, actually, can you guys see that? Yeah, there we go. I put my finger in it, and if halfway is the rice and then the other half is the water, then for me that's about right. And I know that that always works for me, but I understand that some people might not be as comfortable doing it that way. So I'll just pop that onto the hob to start bubbling away. So if you guys are cooking along at home, then you know now's the time to cook your rice. Colleen said, I'm waiting for a recipe using quarantine broccoli. Well, first of all, Jeff needs to cook it, so you know it might be a while. It might be a while. Okay, right. So now on to making the rest of the Belachan. The Sambal Belachan. So the 2 ingredients that we've got in the oven are tempeh and also our miso. That is what will make our vegan Belachan. So if there are other recipes that you find out there that say they need Belachan in it, and by the way, that's spelt with either a CH or just a C, it's exactly the same thing, then you can use this this mixture of the baked tempeh and also the baked miso crumble together, crush together, and then you get this powder. So when you do, or when other people do use Belachan that's made from shrimp paste, then they have to cook it out and it makes this fine powder. Very, very stinky, very, very smelly. It's not very nice. But because we're already making a powder, we don't have to do that bit of the process anyway. So it is actually quite useful in that way. Okay, so on to our leaves and also our chilies. So we're going to pop them straight into our pestle and mortar. So you guys can come back here and I'll show you a really lazy method. Let's get that up there so you can see properly, of using scissors. There is absolutely nothing wrong with using scissors in the kitchen if that is what works for you. So I'm just going to take these bird's eye chilies and just use our scissors to finely slice them, seeds and all, into our pestle and mortar. There we go. And actually I'm going to be really, really super lazy and see if I can do more than one at a time. See, this is what I do with cooking. I just like can I make this quicker? I'm always so impatient. Always so impatient. And someone once told me that the best ingredient for food is time. I mean, I would argue with that and say the best ingredient for food is peanut butter, but what do I know? So, getting all of those, and this is quite a lot of chili to add, I'll admit. I will absolutely admit this is going to be hot. But I'm feeling like spicy today. I'm not feeling spicy, I'm feeling like spicy. Okay, so same with our kaffir lime leaves. Sorry, I'm just checking to see if there's any questions. No, you guys have, you're all quiet because you're intent and listening to what I'm saying. There we go. So I'm just going to cut out the spine first because that's going to be a bit tough. So we just want to take that bit out and then we can pop these together there, and then we'll do the same with this one. Take that spine out, and then I'm just going to stack these together. Okay, and now we can just use the same Chef de Radley lazy method and slice them one way. We are going to use the pestle and mortar now to bash them, but the smaller that you can get them whilst doing this, whilst cutting them, the easier it will be for us to to bash them and really get them to the, into little bits and as finely broken down as possible. The kaffir lime leaves are absolutely glorious in this recipe. I mean, I'm a massive fan of kaffir lime leaves anyway. So, and these kaffir lime leaves, I get them fresh. I don't ever use the dried ones because they won't have nearly enough flavour. And when I find them fresh, I put them in my freezer. Same with the bird's eye chilies as well. I keep them in my freezer because if it's something you don't use a lot of often, then they'll end up going off, and they can survive really, really well in the freezer, as can galangal and lemongrass as well. Let's just get all of these little bits and pop them into our mortar. There we go. Okay, so Sarah says, where do you get your kaffir lime leaves from? So I actually get them from Ocado. Gloria says, how do you think a vegan diet suits if you suffer with IBS? Well, apparently I have IBS. And in fact, I'm just going to bash this, but you guys know what bashing looks like. So let's bring you over here and then I'm going to have a proper chat with you. So I had terrible IBS, really, 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 really bad. Didn't actually realise until later on in life. I actually thought that everybody felt pain when they ate. So for a while I kind of stopped eating, hence having, you know, issues with eating in my past. And sorry, let me just turn this down a bit. Where are we? There we go. Just bringing it down to about 3, which is middle. Yeah, so I went to the doctors and they would give me tablets and they didn't do anything. I would try, you know, different like homeopathic remedies and herbal remedies and all of this sort of stuff, and nothing worked. Absolutely nothing worked. By the way, I'm bashing this really, really hard. You do need to really do that because the skins of the chilies are quite tough. And then when I was about, it was just after I turned 30, 31, something like that, I was going through a really, really hard time, and I was like, I just can't deal with stomach pain anymore. I had just like put up with it for such a long time, so I decided to give up anything that I thought could trigger it. So I gave up all wheat, all sugar, and all caffeine, which, if you know me, the caffeine part, really hard. But I did it, and then I started reintroducing things. So it's called an elimination diet, and through doing that, I would eat something or drink something, and the reaction would happen within about 20 minutes. So I would immediately know that that was something that I couldn't have. So yeah, from that point onwards, I learned a lot more about what my body could tolerate and what it couldn't, and that's when I found out that it couldn't tolerate any forms of gluten. So I completely gave them up at that point, and that's when I became gluten-free. In recent years, after talking to Dr. Gemma Newman, who I completely recommend that you follow, she's on Instagram as a Plant Power Doctor, and she's great. She's a really, really good source of great information and trusted information about nutrition. But talking to her about these issues, you know, she has enlightened me to the fact that I may actually have leaky gut. And so leaky gut is something that quite a lot of people have. But it presents itself by giving you a reaction to certain foods, quite often gluten. So I might not actually be gluten intolerant, but it's more that I've got leaky gut. And so leaky gut can actually be caused by eating too much non-organic food, so having too many pesticides in our diet, which of course a lot of us have had, you know, maybe still have. And so once I figured that out, I decided to completely go organic as well. And going organic was hard because of the expense. But I found that all of the reasons that I had for not going organic were very similar to a lot of the reasons that people have for not going vegan. And so once I called myself out on that, I was like, yeah, okay, I've got to try it. So now I eat pretty much like 90%, probably, yeah, about 90% organic food, and I'm hoping that that will help it. But the other thing that I found that really has an impact is exercise. So if I don't exercise, then I start getting those feelings back in my tummy, no matter what I eat. So, you know, I'm trying to do more exercise, and that's a bit difficult at the moment. It is a bit difficult at the moment because I was a regular at the gym, but obviously now I can't do that. So my home has become my gym. Okay, so bring you guys over to here and show you this. So it is quite well bashed. You'll see, you know, you can't really get rid of those little bits unless you want to blitz it, which you would only be able to do if you make a really large quantity of this. But we're getting the juices out, we're getting the flavour out. So the flavour of the chilli and the kaffir lime leaves will be much more in our Sambal Belachan. Okay, so Sarah says, do you freeze your bird's eye chilies whole after just being washed? Yeah, absolutely. I freeze them whole. They're absolutely fine like that. Because they're so small, they defrost really quickly, Sarah. Louise says, please look up Dr. Bernard. Oh, great. Okay, REIBS. He just wrote a wonderful book, Your Body in Balance. Okay, that's a great tip. Thank you for that. That would be really useful. Jim, thank you for joining us again. Annie, I think I need to give up gluten. Oh, okay, good. And you're glad that our recipe is gluten-free. Good, good, good. I'm just going to go and check on the rice, see how we're doing. you go. Okay, guys. So my recipe is a little bit different just because I'm using that arborio rice. So I'm just going to pop this to one side because we're going to bring the miso out of the oven and see how it's doing. Okay, right. This isn't quite done. You will see that these edges are done here, but we've still got a little bit of a pale spot there. So just a few more minutes for the miso. So with the guidelines, you know, we say like around half an hour, but it might not be as much as half an hour because, you know, it does depend on how thin you have been able to spread your miso and also how thin you've been able to cut your tempeh. So I don't know if you guys can hear that, but those beans, those peas are getting quite hard, and this is getting quite hard, and that's what we want to happen. We want it to get hard because we want to make a powder with it, and it will grind a lot better if it is dry. Lisa says hello from NU. Where's NU? Gloria says, my tummy is never without pain of some kind. I've got used to it, but it does restrict my life. Right, okay, so we're going to come back to here so we can talk about that. I don't think anybody should be experiencing pain every time they eat. Absolutely, absolutely not. There is a lot of help out there. Gloria, I definitely suggest that you look at Dr. Gemma Newman and what she does. And it sounds like Louise's book, that might be a really good source of inspiration as well. But I think like food should be about joy. You know, it should be about joy and really that kind of like sensory happiness that we get from eating it, and it shouldn't be linked to either pain or guilt or, you know, anything negative like that. But I think that nowadays there's so much more help out there for people who experience pain when they're eating. So do have a look online as well, and there are lots of things that you can, you know, like the exclusion diet that I was talking about earlier, to see what triggers it. If you do think that you've got something like leaky gut, then there's a lot of food that can be recommended for you. So there's a client that I work with, but when she's in the UK, I'll bring her food, and she has leaky gut, so I tailor the menu completely to her. So, you know, I add a lot of things like anything fermented. Anything fermented is really, really good for someone with leaky gut. Also, stewed apples. I know it sounds like really, really simple, but stewed apples are really great at healing the gut lining. I know I always say that I'm not a nutritionist and that I'm a chef, but if there's one thing that I know about, it is IBS and leaky gut. So, you know, there is so much more help out there now. I would say not necessarily from like mainstream doctors. Quite a lot of mainstream doctors, they just kind of like fob you off. They give you pills and stuff like that, and they don't actually realise how having a stomach issue can really, really impact your life and the quality of your life. So, but it really, really massively does impact your life. And one of the issues that I had with it wasn't just like the stomach pain or the back pain or the depression, but it was the brain fog. So I had really, really bad brain fog where I just really couldn't think properly. And there's a lot of research out there into how stomach issues can cause things like brain fog, and it can really inhibit what you do during a day. So I really urge anyone to really look into it, and let's get you eating happy. Okay, let's get you eating happy. Right, okay, back over here, and I'm just going to check on our rice. So if anybody is cooking along at home, just keep an eye on your rice. I think if you're doing sushi rice, it should be about done now, because I had to substitute with arborio. It's taking a little bit longer. Okay, so now we can marinate our banana blossom. So we need a nice big bowl for it. As I said, I have taken as much water out of this as I can. And Karen has said something interesting. I've just discovered I can't tolerate red wine. Been suffering for months and cut out loads of food, but never thought about drinks. I'm feeling much better now. That's really, really good. Maybe try gin. That might help. That's a nice alternative. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys this because, you know, if you guys have never seen banana blossom before, then you can see what it looks like. It's got all of these lovely fronds, which means that they're great at catching flavour. Really, really great at catching flavour. Similar to jackfruit, but different in the way that we can work with it and we can present it. So we are going to marinate this today just in some lime juice and a little bit of nuri. Okay, so we've got our lime juice here, and we just want to use about half of this, which is 1 lime. So I've just popped it in there, and then we've got our nori flakes. So you don't have to use this if you don't want to, but it will make it taste more fishy. So if that's what you want, then add it. If you don't want to, then that's absolutely fine. It does also make a really nice sprinkle to go on top as well. You know, I'm a big fan of sprinkles. So I'm just going to turn this over a few times, make sure that all of that banana blossom is covered in the lime juice. Colleen said, "Eating happy." That should be the name of your next book. That's a great idea. In fact, there's probably already one of them out there. I'm sure. Khan said, "Chef Day, could we use almonds instead of peanuts?" Okay, so traditionally, you know, in this kind of meal, you would have peanuts, but I don't see why not. I don't see why not. There we go. So we'll just put that to one side. And I'm just going to grab the miso because the miso should be done now. We don't want it to overcook. But we do want it to get completely black. There we go. There we go. And it will have a slight burnt taste. That's absolutely fine. That's actually quite nice. Oh, it's a bit... There we go. In focus finally. Okay, so we're just going to leave that to one side to cool down. Because it will be really, really hot at the moment if we handle it. So we'll just leave that off on the counter somewhere. And have a look at our tempeh, see how that is doing. So I'm just feeling these pieces to see. Yeah, they're done as well. So I'm going to leave that out just to cool down before we blitz it. There we go. I'm just going to check my rice again. That's almost done. There we go. Okay. Right. So if anybody is cooking along at home, I don't think anybody is today. But you know, when you do look back at this recipe and you're making it, then just take your rice off the heat when it's done. And then just keep it warm until we're ready to serve. Okay, so we have our banana blossom soaking and marinating, so that can just sit there for a while we add our salt and our sugar to the chilies. There we go. And then the rest of the lime juice will go in here as well. So you can just these to one side. Oh, Paul, thanks for joining us. You're a bit late today. I hope everything's okay. Okay, so just pop this to one side. There we go. And then we will put the Belachan in that when it's done. Oh, Lisa says it's from New Jersey. Sorry. That's okay. I was thinking like, I don't know that one. What's NU? All right, okay, so with our cucumber, I'm just going to chop it into small chunks. So slicing it lengthways to start with, and then slicing it lengthways again into about 4 pieces. But of course, you know, it depends on how thick your cucumber is. And then we just want to have these small chunks. So this combination of cucumber and peanut on the side of a dish, you do see quite often in Malaysia, and I think it's a really lovely combination. this is a ridge cucumber that I use. I always end up getting ridge cucumbers these days because I think they have so much more flavour. Right, okay, so that's it for the chopping. So we're just going to pop this to one side, as we don't need to do anything with this anymore. This is ready for plating, and then we've got our peanuts here as well. There we go, you guys can see that properly. Don't need the miso anymore, so that can come out of the way. Okay, and now we can see about finishing off our Belachan. So here we have our miso that we've baked in the oven. And see, we've just got this nice, thin, crisp thing. This is a nice thing to use as scattering over food as well. So you know, you can do that, and it just creates like this salty condiment, I guess, that you can sprinkle on top of food, and it looks like, you know, pretty different because it's this like dark colour. There we go. So I'm just tearing it up and then pop it into our blender or food processor, or you know, you can just use a pestle and mortar with that. That's absolutely fine. But as you guys know, love my hand blender. Don't know what I'd do without it. There we go. Paul said he's just joined very late today. Apologies. That's okay. That's okay. Happy you could come along. But you missed Khan's jokes. So you'll have to catch up with them. Karen says Dr. Gemma Newman is amazing. She is. So please do check her out. Sarah says, does it not lose the nutritional value when it gets so dark? Yes, it does. It does. So sorry, just to say, Sarah, so in this instance, we're going to be using miso for its flavour. We're going to be using it just for its flavour. We are going to be destroying, you know, the fermented thing in it because we are cooking it out. Same with the tempeh as well, actually. Same with the tempeh. But you know, that's okay. That's okay. Like, we're not doing this one because we want, you know, the added nutrition for it or whatever. So yeah, in this instance, we are destroying the nutrition in the miso. Sorry about that. But you just have to make up for it by having a miso soup on side. Right, okay, back over to here. Now you'll see that when I'm blending it, I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be moving it around, which is probably going to make you feel a bit seasick. So apologies for that. But it means that all of that miso will hit the blades a lot more, and we'll be able to do this quicker. Okay, so I'll have a look inside, and you guys can probably just see that it's all black. But I can see the texture more, and I can see that there is still some, you know, bits that aren't that big, but I want it to be as fine as it can be. Right, okay, there we go. So that is a powder now, and now we need to add our tempeh. So I'll just go and grab from the other side of the kitchen. I have actually been thinking about asking Gemma, because she has spoken at the school before. Been thinking about asking her to come on as a guest one day. So I think you guys might really like that by the sound of it. Okay, so sorry, we've got our tempeh here. And I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's lovely and crunchy. So we know that it's going to blend really well. These actually remind me of, you know, those bits of popping corn that don't quite get popped? There we go, pop that all into there, and then we can get another blend. There we go. Okay. Okay, so it's getting there, but I just need to blend it a little bit more because I can see, I don't know if you guys can see, there is some bits still left in it. I want it to be a bit more powdery than that because we are going to then mix it into the sauce. So we want it to be as fine as we can possibly make it. Colleen said we call them old maids, the unpopped kernels. I see. I'm not sure how to take that. That's a bit rude, isn't it? Right, there we go. So this is our Belachan. So this is what is mimicking our shrimp paste. So it's salty, it's fermented. So now we just need to add a spoonful of this to our sauce here. So this I actually freeze, and it freezes really, really well. And then you can just, bring it out. You don't have to defrost it or anything like that. It doesn't clump together. So you can just use that whenever you need to make a Belachan. So we're going to add it to our sauce here, and then it makes this lovely, thick, salty, sour because of the lime, and then fragrant because of the kaffir lime leaves. So you can tell how much I like this, and a little bit of it goes an awfully long way. And in fact, I think we need a little bit more of the Belachan. Now I just want to thicken it up a bit more. There we go. There we go. And you put that onto plain rice, and oh my gosh, it's like heaven. It is like absolute heaven. Okay, so we can pop this to the side now, and this we can freeze and use for other Belachan recipes. Okay, now we'll bring over our pan, and we're almost there, guys. We just need to cook our banana blossom. That's the last thing that we want to do. So we've got our plate at the ready. So if you guys are cooking along, then get your plate at the ready. I'm going to get some tongs as well. These are very, very useful when you're cooking something like this. So you can do this with a bit of oil if you want to, or with no oil. So we're going to try with no oil today. And see how we get on. If you are going to use oil, get it to a really, really high heat. I'm going to get this pan as hot as I can get it, which is going to be like on a 6 for this one. It goes all the way up to 9, but honestly, it's going to explode if it goes to 9. This one gets so hot. Okay, so whilst that is heating up, I am going to pop a few of these bits and pieces onto my plate. And because this is all ambient, right? So we can just pop that on there. Sorry, it's going in and out of focus, which must be annoying. Okay, so we'll pop some of our lovely cucumber, and then half of our peanuts. So this is for 2 people today. There we go. And then bring over my rice. And we're just going to make a little bowl of rice. So we want it to be this kind of like sticky rice so that we can just make a little dome with it. So I'm just using this like shallow little, it's basically kind of like a pinch pot that I use for, all of my like little ingredients. I've got all of these like little pots. So I'm just going to pop it into one of these, and I am kind of pushing down, trying to make it like sticky. There we go. There we go. So I'll pop this out onto our plate here. There we go. And then we've got a little dome, which is quite nice. I think I prefer that rather than one of these high domes that we sometimes, end up with when we're using a ramekin. So that's all ready. I'm sorry, I'm not ignoring you guys. So Gloria's a confession. I've never heard of Belachan. It's absolutely fine. I think most people wouldn't unless they've visited Malaysia, and I had the good fortune to visit Malaysia. So, right, okay, so I'm getting our banana blossom, and then we just need to stir it. We just need to stir it because it's already got a lot of flavour. I'm also going to salt it as well whilst it's in the pan. We just want to brown it a bit, that's all. We don't really need to cook it per se. There we go. Now I'm just going to keep these because our tongs are going to be really, really helpful for this recipe. And I'll just get a bit of sea salt. So sea salt would go really, really well with this. So just add a sprinkle to our banana blossom. There we go. And let that cook out, and we just need that to brown. And then we can pop it onto our plate with everything else. So sambal, Gloria, basically means it's like a sauce. It's like a sauce. So you'll find sambals in Indian cuisine as well, and in lots of different cuisines all over Asia. So that's all like sambal means. And then you'll get like lots of different types. So basically sambal means sauce, and then belachan is our fermented shrimp paste, but our vegan version of it. So yeah, so it's like saying sauce shrimp paste or sauce vegan shrimp paste. So that's basically what it means. But it's a really, really great way to treat banana blossom because banana blossom, it can act in a very, very similar way to, or it can be used in a very, very similar way to whitefish. So, you know, you can kind of use those types of recipes for banana blossom. It's really, really good like that. And Gloria also said that the salt that I use is made on the Lizard Peninsula, a few miles away from her. There you go. That's definitely on my list when I come to see you guys. Definitely going to go and buy lots from them. Okay, so we'll go back to our banana blossom and see how it's doing. And see, it is going to brown nicely, and that's what we want. We want it to stop being this kind of yellowish colour and give us more of this Maillard reaction where it goes a nice colour that is kind of golden brown, like seared. That's what we want, because that is what will make our eyes tell our brain that this is going to be yummy. And it does brown nicely, and the colour becomes a bit more of a kind of like dark pink, but you can see, you know, why people use it as a substitution for fish. Paul said there is a restaurant here in Galway City in Ireland where they generally only employ chefs from Malaysia. Wow, yeah, exactly. You know, like you're learning spice skills, you know, it does take a long time. Okay, so I'm just making sure that this is seared on all sides. As I said, really, really high heat. I'm not using any oil here, so you can do that if you want. Coconut oil would work really, really well with all of these flavours. Okay, and then we've got our plate here. So we can grab some of our lovely Sambal Belachan, and just remembering that our Sambal Belachan is very, very spicy, very, very delicious, but very, very potent. So you don't need much at all. So we're just going to pop it on to our rice here. So that's our Belachan, and then we see how this is doing. So pop some of your lovely banana blossom on your plate. I'm going to move this off now. And there we have our finished plate. Almost. I'm just going to do one more thing. I'm going to take some of this lime juice that the banana blossom was marinating in, and just pour some of that onto our banana blossom, and then we can use some of this just as extra garnish if we want to make it look a bit more chefy. There we go. Okay guys, so here we have our banana blossom with Sambal Belachan and sticky rice and lovely fresh cucumber and salty peanuts. This is one of my favourite dishes, and please trust me that this is amazing. I know that it can be very, very different to things that you guys may have tried in the past, but do give it a go because it is an absolute taste sensation. Really, really, really lovely. That sauce is just like a dream, and you know, it doesn't really take too much to make it, and it will last a really long time, and it has such amazing flavour. Really, the kaffir lime leaf in it is just out of this world. The sourness of the lime, and that will really balance out, the sourness of the lime will really balance out the spiciness of the chili. And now I've got to try some, haven't I? And I put 4 bird's eye chilies in this. Okay. I'm game. Okay. Right. I'm scared. I'm scared. Okay. Right, I'm going in. Just a tiny, tiny bit of that is like a taste sensation. It's just like, it has so much flavour in it. Small, but mighty. Just like the best people. Okay, so Sarah says, do you know where we can buy non-soya tempeh? To be honest, I don't think that I have seen non-soy tempeh. Oh, no, actually, complete lying. There is a make. Lara, maybe you might know the make of this. They make lupin tempeh in the UK. Lupin tempeh. I'll see if I can find who the company is, Sarah, and I'll put a link to it later on today in our group. I met them at like a food fair, you know, like for people in the business. Yeah, I'm sure I can find them, but they do make it with lupin. But I think that that's the only make that I can think of. But you should really, really try making it yourself, because it's a lot easier than you think it's going to be. And so quite often with the students on our pro course, we actually start them off by making tempeh using yellow split peas. And yellow split peas are great because if you use soybeans, you have to shell all of them, so you have to take the skin off. Whereas with yellow split peas, you don't have to. Okay, guys, so there we go. Please do try it, because I know it looks like, you know, quite a maybe unusual recipe to what you're used to, but it is absolutely glorious, really, really glorious, and all of these flavours go really, really well together. I didn't blow my head off with the spice, but there's a definite tingle there. So I'm gonna go outside and enjoy this in the sunshine. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me see if there are any more questions. Apparently I'm the new Spice Girl. Okay, I'm happy to do that. Khan says, Chef Day, can you explain to my mother why I am trying to incorporate vegan dishes at my home? She doesn't listen. Well, I would say that if people don't listen, then maybe don't try to actually tell them verbally, but show them. So, you know, be the lighthouse. That is what the saying is, be the lighthouse. So keep eating great vegan food, keep making great vegan food, and just by your mum seeing how happy you are, how healthy you are, how you're loving the food that you're making, and you know that you are consuming a wide variety of food, which you know she might be worried about. She might be worried about because she cares about you, right? But just by doing that, then you may get her on board. So you know sometimes like people don't listen, and I would say my parents don't listen to me either. My parents never listen to me. So, you know, that's like something that often happens. But, you know, they see how happy and healthy I am as a vegan. So they now appreciate that it's a good way to be, even though they're not. Elizabeth said, we'll give it a go. Good, good, good. Never tried banana blossom. Love things with lots of flavour. Good, good, good. But please do remember that with the Sambal Belachan, if you don't like too much spice, don't put too much chili in it, okay? Okay, we don't want to ruin it. Sarah says we'll definitely give it a try. Good, good, good. Annie said thank you. It looks lovely. I'll make it, but without the chili. But you know what you could do, because really, Anne, you need some body to it, and the chili pepper, you know, gives it a bit more body. So you use red pepper, like red bell pepper, that doesn't have any spice in it. Just a small amount of that, and then you'll be able to mimic it, and also the colour will be the same. So I think that might be a good substitution. But please, as ever, do share your photos. I love seeing your photos, honestly. Honestly, it's the highlight of my day. So keep on sharing your photos, and we'll keep on sharing our recipes. So thank you, thank you, thank you for your time today. Tomorrow is Katie's turn. So Katie is making a lovely recipe for you guys, which is a cheese scone with onion chutney. So we had a rhubarb chutney last week, and now we have a slightly different take on it, which is an onion chutney, which will probably be a lot easier for you guys to get hold of. So that's really, really great. And a couple of people have just joined very late, David and Alicia. David and Alicia, hello. Thank you for joining us. If you want to see the recipe that I've just made, then you can check back on our page or in our community hub, which is our group. So that's it from me today. So, sorry, I find that funny. By the way, my name is Day, so if anybody just didn't get that, that's why. So, please do make the recipe and have a nice day.